All right, best hour of their day is back. And today, we're talking about something that accidentally, as a box owner, you have to become an expert on. And I think that there are so many. What are some other things we can think of what are some things that by opening CrossFit Rife, you didn't realize you would become good at?
Psychiatry, plumbing, electrician, welding, woodwork, carpeting,
You were
what else?
probably decent at some of those.
Websites,
Well, that's what we're here
um,
to talk about. But
merchant processing, social media, accounting, human resources, contracts and legal. Yeah,
are you reading a list right now, or are these all on the top of your head?
those are literally just off the top of my head.
It's so true because we open these boxes, we open these businesses because we love training people. And I just got off the phone call with an accountant today, and it reminded me of like how when I first opened Albany CrossFit, I opened it as a C corp, and no one tells you anything about this. I went over to a We the People, which was right next door to the gym, and he's like, well, this is a C corp and this and that. I'm like, all right, sign me up for one of those. And little do you know at the time, like how much tax implication and, all these different things, like you just like, I just want to train people.
When I first created an LLC, I literally had no idea what LLC meant.
Yeah, I still don't. And I've had multiple. We have one together that I don't know what it means.
And we're the experts, guys. We're the experts.
So what was your worst plumbing mishap?
I guess it's not plumbing. We had a pretty severe roof leak a couple years ago during a seminar that was really bad. And there was a horrific storm. And so we had to deal with a bunch of leaky ceiling tiles and flooding. What else? I've had some pretty severe electrical issues in the past because the building we are in is like 30 years old. There's not a ground wire in the joint, but I was literally up on a ladder yesterday because I'm trying to move a vending machine we have. Because there's like an outlet up there. I have no idea if the outlet works, if there's running power to it. So I'm on a 15-foot ladder with a voltmeter trying to figure out like if there's anything running to this wire. So yeah, the number of things that you have to be competent at as a gym owner is astronomical, and that's a business owner. It's not unique to gyms, but
No, but what's unique to gyms, especially, I believe, is they tend to be brick and mortar, obviously. Where like in the virtual space, like Best Hour and some other companies that we're involved in, you have to learn other things. You have to learn Shopify or Stripe or like you
they tend
said.
to be a little bit more tech heavy because your world is virtual. So yeah.
But yeah, regardless, I mean, and I've told people this numerous times, the government makes it challenging for small businesses. And not that they're like assholes about it, but there's no like playbook or there's no set of rules like, hey, make sure you do this, or make sure at the end of the year you've saved money because you're paying yourself but you're not paying taxes on, like, all that stuff. And
Yep.
I mean, really, that's what we're here for. If you have questions about any of that, we've done it numerous times and we've messed up numerous times, so we're happy to help. But
Well,
today's
luckily I've referred to this in the past, is that CrossFit is like this weird, very unique, self-sustaining ecosystem. So everything that you would ever need in a gym sprung up out of the community as a service provider to somebody. Like the amount of SaaS businesses that exist in the CrossFit ecosystem that did not exist before CrossFit, that now have carved out a niche lane in the CrossFit community for CrossFit gyms is astonishing. I mean, you think about accounting, John Briggs and Insight Tax, who just launched, Profit First for micro gyms. You think about gym mentoring with Two Brain with Chris Cooper. You think about websites. I mean, there's a ton of companies that do that. Site Right, there's UpLaunch, I think there's 321 Go. Wodify now does websites. You have gym membership softwares. I mean, like you have Wodify, you have Push Press, you have SugarWOD, you have Zen Planner, you have MindBody Online. I mean, the number of things that like people didn't, Rogue, however many $100 million business that did not exist 10 years ago that basically sprung up solely to support the CrossFit community, and now has expanded into other things.
I think that's one of the most amazing things about CrossFit is, and you know, as a lot of people want to hate on and bash Coach Glassman, but I'm sure there was a way back in the day that he could have been like, I want a piece of everything. Oh, cool. Bill, Katie, you're starting this little equipment company. Let's slap CrossFit on it. And by the way, I own, 20%.
I'd be curious what the overall ecosystem was worth in dollars.
Right. Not just CrossFit alone, but everything. $1 billion. I don't know. I'm just
well, everything that's involved in CrossFit. So all of the SaaS businesses, the equipment businesses, the everybody that's attached directly to the CrossFit space. I mean, it's for sure $1 billion, but
I'll tell you what bumped it over $1 billion is Best Hour of Their Day.
For sure. All 12 listeners. Yeah.
CrossFit was floundering in the red, going out of business, and Best Hour of Their Day. Here come Ackerman and Fern saving the day. But let's talk about websites. So I'd like to throw out some funny stuff. Back in the day, I mean, what CrossFit does is they say, hey, you want to be an affiliate, you need two things. You need insurance and you need a website.
Yep.
And they used to say you need to point to the CrossFit Journal. I don't know if they still say that.
I believe they still do say that because it does exist. But I'm pretty sure that's still in the affiliate agreement.
So before starting my own website, my first kind of virtual thing online was actually the Albany CrossFit MySpace account.
MySpace. I oddly enough, I never had a MySpace account, and I actually held off for a long time getting a Facebook account.
I held off on Facebook for a bit because I was like, I don't have time, and MySpace was crazy. But yeah, no, first thing ever was, hey, we're gonna have an Albany CrossFit MySpace. I don't even remember how I made a logo somewhere online. Like, remember, like there used to be like Microsoft Paint or whatever. Like it wasn't even. It was like I'm sitting there drawing the letters Albany.
That's another thing that you have to learn as affiliate owner is like graphic design and artwork and videography.
Yeah, just a little. If you're listening to this and you make stuff for social media, go check out Canva. We're not even sponsored by them, but I think they're a great way to just make quick, easy social media posts that look somewhat pretty.
Canva, there's a couple of big ones in there. Canva, Later, Over is a nice one. Headliner is pretty easy.
Yeah, people ask us how we make our, images every day on Best Hour of Their Day Instagram with the quotes from the people that we've interviewed, and we use something online called Headliner. So hopefully a couple of those little things help you out. But yeah, I went from MySpace to a company called TypePad. Have you heard of TypePad?
I have heard of TypePad. Not in a decade, but
yeah. Well, back in the day, that was the way to go. There wasn't all of these other, build your own website things. And I believe CrossFit was using TypePad at the time, which is why I went to them. But man, I spent hours on my website every day, like adding widgets, adding just trying to make it was like the face of your business. And I took so much pride in it.
Now, here's the question. What was the primary function of your website in 2000 and we'll call it 2007 to 2010? Like what did you use the website for?
People went to it every day. My members.
What did they go to it for? What were they there for?
They wanted it. You cannot understand how much time I put into it. Every night I'd go home, and some days I would do it twice a day, a morning post and an evening post about what happened at the gym that day. Who hit PRs, what the workout was, what are some of the fun things that happened. I would put every picture that I took, and it wasn't on my iPhone, like an easy to upload. It was a digital camera. I had to take the card out, put it on my computer, upload 12 pictures.
Did you take a Polaroid, scan it, and then upload that scan of the Polaroid to your computer?
It took about that much time, but you can only upload 12 pictures at a time on TypePad, and I would go home and have like 200 plus pictures, and didn't edit anything, didn't want to delete any pictures, but I'd wait like 2 minutes, upload the next 12. Meanwhile, the girl I was dating, no wonder it didn't work out. She's downstairs, probably like, what's happening? Like hours up there.
He's watching porn up there.
She would have rather that, I think. But looking back, I don't think I could have built the community I built without it. It was so unique at the time. There was no
So
place to
where I,
go like that.
yeah. So where I was going with that is, if you had two buckets of people, you have potential customers and customers, who was going to your website?
Yeah, that's a great question. At the time, it was primarily my current customers. Now
That's
there
what
was a
everybody used it for. It was most people, their website was basically the most basic function of WordPress. And all they did was push their WAD to the blog so people could check it there. Like that's
right.
what everybody used the website. It was not to disseminate information or content or capture any information. It was literally just to read the workout. That's it. The end. No more.
Exactly. Exactly. And, you know, from a business perspective, that's pretty dumb.
But nobody knew any better back then. Where now, no, our WAD posts to our website, but nobody goes there to read it. Not one single person goes there to read it.
Well, that's a good question that we'll touch upon on this episode, but do boxes still push the WAD to their website?
Some people do, some people don't. I mean, I would probably say it's more do than don't. I think people that don't try to keep their programming secret, which is dumb. It's not that
Are
great, you know.
are websites in the general, but specifically in the CrossFit space, becoming obsolete?
No, they are still very important. They just have to be optimized for mobile, and they have to be built with this very specific intention, which is generally not for your current customer base. They should be built primarily to house content and capture information so that you can reuse that information, just like every other corporation uses that information.
Yeah, I just, you
So
think,
I want to I want to house content there, and then I want to capture people's information as they go to the website, whether they're watching a video, listening to a podcast, reading an article, looking at pictures, and then I want to track that traffic so that I can follow up and give them more of what it is that they're looking for.
right. And that's really what they're becoming, where, a website, and it still is like kind of like the window into your business, right? Like I go to a website and immediately you form these opinions like these guys are dumb, I don't want to go there. And whether you're looking at a CrossFit affiliate or a restaurant, right? Like we went out to, for example, Roz and I went out to dinner on New Year's, and it was supposed to be this fixed menu. So Roz and I, who track, we look at the menu online, and then we get to the restaurant and it was a different menu. And we're like, that's your website. Like, how do you, like, where does that disconnect happen? But same thing at a box. Like, if your website's shitty, you could have the most, shiny equipment and all that stuff at your gym, and people might not show up.
Well, the first thing people have to do is be able to give you information so you can contact them or contact you directly. Like we're going through some revisions on our website right now. There's like things that need to be updated. We're doing some migration and stuff like that. But what nobody had back in the day was like a contact me form.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
just like there was probably a link to an email that nobody managed or a phone number that they got, and they don't even have a landline in their gym.
Oh yeah. Mine was just right to my cell phone. My cell phone would blow up all day. I'd get texts. I'd give it out to everybody. I mean, that's a whole nother topic.
Don't do that.
But
Yeah, that's a whole nother show about like stop giving your personal information. You have
at
to have
least
some
get yourself a Google Voice line. At a minimum, separate something.
Google Voice. One that's really cheap and very manageable is ZipWhip. Because like you can turn any landline into, and I think the cheapest package I have is like $35, but like it $35 is more than you need, but I can turn any landline into a textable number. It's like if you went to my website, CrossFitRife.com, that phone number in there, like you could text that number and that would go to me and another staff. And it's not my personal cell phone number, but I could text you back from my phone. So we have we have conversations all day long via the business line.
Right, because I got a number yesterday for a business, and the first thing I tried to do was text it, and it
Yeah,
bounced
the
back.
open rate. Yeah, the open rates for text are something like 90%, where answer rates for calls that people don't know the number is well under 40%.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just natural. Like, oh, I got a number, a connection. I'm going to text you first, and then it bounced back, so I had to call. But yeah, that's the first thing. So that's cool. And keep in mind, nothing we've mentioned are paying us. It's all just things we use. Whether currently or or with boxes. So go check out all of those.
So
Yeah.
what are, if you had to have only 3 things on your website or 3 functions, what would they be?
Well, like we've touched upon, you need to have a way to get in touch with you. And I'd probably have my phone number and email on there. Like I said, not ours, but a phone number and an email that multiple people can check.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have that. You'd probably have your address. Like you need people to know where to go.
Yep.
Ooh, what's the third thing I would have? Like you kind of want to say your prices, but I don't know if I would put my prices online if I was limited to 3 things. What would your third thing be? Assuming the first 2 are the same.
I think it is a 100% must. The very top of the list, number 1 thing is you have to have a way to collect information.
So that'd be a great third thing, right? And when Fern keeps saying that, I mean, Fern's very good at this stuff, but it's like a newsletter. So whether you have a MailChimp or Klaviyo, or what do you use for CrossFit Right?
Well, we have kind of 2, well, technically 3, which is a whole nother discussion. But so on our website is powered by Infusionsoft on the back end, which is a massive SaaS business. Like it's a software.
Like Infusionsoft is huge, yeah.
Yeah, it's a CRM that's pretty robust. And then that's like the primary function that we have there. And then I do use MailChimp because there's a lot of flexibility within MailChimp to create campaigns and segment. That's MailChimp's pretty user friendly, and you can connect those 2. So like I can have an API that automatically updates contacts as they come in through Infusionsoft to populate MailChimp, and then I just go in there and clean them. I was actually like segmenting them this morning.
There's so much to learn. There's so much to learn out there. So what are some of the, let's tell the audience, this conversation came because we got an email, and we get a lot of emails asking for podcast topics, and the discussion about websites was one of them. This was a new affiliate and asking questions. So let's start from that ground level. Someone is either opening a new box, or maybe they have a current box and they're thinking about revamping. Do they go with a company? Do they try to do it on their own?
You and I are both, well, you're this way because you're Jewish, but you and I are both very like bootstrap.
You just lost our 8 Jewish listeners. Let's be real. We had 1. It was my mom.
No, I think on the front end, because I told somebody who contacted us this morning about programming. They're like, hey, I want to do programming, and I told them straight up, I was like, I don't recommend that you pay for programming right up front. Like, I just don't think it's a cost that you need to incur.
Are you you're trying to destroy our business before we launch? Is that what's happening?
No, it's called being genuine and giving people good advice, even if it doesn't benefit you. I'm
referring to the best hour of their day programming that's coming out very soon.
Yeah. If you can do it yourself, I mean, depending on where you're at, right? So you don't have to pay, you don't have to pay for an ongoing service, right? Like you can pay minimum dollar for somebody to set your website up so that you can capture information. There's a landing page where somebody gives you name, email, phone number that automatically notifies you via email and has like 3 basic blogs. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it needs to be incredibly robust. It needs to be, honestly, I think it needs to be simple. It needs to say, here's what we do. It's like, hey, get fit, have fun, like whatever, feel great, lose weight, like whatever it's going to be. It should not have a picture of like the fittest person in your gym. It should have like a picture of a normal human being on there. Somebody who looks more like Jay, less like me. And then a way to contact you. Like, again, like it doesn't need to be this crazy thing. But it does need to be, and this is more pertinent now than ever, it does have to be mobile friendly. So you need to check that. You need to check all your website, or you need to check all your pages on your phone, because if it looks like shit on your phone, it's the most annoying thing ever. And most people are checking out your website from their phone.
Yeah. And I think even if you're doing it the way Fern said, which is kind of do it yourself, most of those platforms, like let's use WordPress as an example, has an option to kind of look at what it looks like in the mobile format. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's so many free options out there. You and I think I disagree a little bit. To me, the expense of getting someone to start a website for you between $250 and $500 should be something you budget in as a new business, because And I'm only speaking from my experience in that it's a time suck.
It is a time suck. I would even say that like upwards of $2 to $3 grand wouldn't be unreasonable for a build out of a website that has like
For a
full
nice
functionality.
one,
For a nice
yes.
one. Now, if you don't have that, you can go lower dollar. But I've seen websites that are just as functional both ways. Generally, they're just not like generally what suffers is the UX, right? So the user experience suffers a little bit depending on how much you pay. So the
If you guys are listening, by the way, and you want someone that does a good website, cost effective, check out besthouroftheirday.com. We have a guy. I don't want to put him on blast right now because I don't even know if he's taking new people. But hit us up if you want a connection there. He's a great dude. He's a part of our community. So we're happy to introduce you to him. But there are some other places that, what would you call like the cookie cutter type CrossFit websites?
I don't want to say there's cookie cutter. I want to say like I know I do know that Wodify is now created like a website function, right? So you can build a website that's the back end of it is Wodify now. I have no experience with it. I just know that they offer it.
It's probably really smart if you collect payments through Wodify and post through Wodify. It's all in one place. I mean, sounds like they're one of the first people doing that.
I'm not aware of anybody else that does it. There's other companies that do it. Like we've been using SiteRight for a very long time, which was originally Barbell Business and then Barbell Logic, and then it was GymRight, and now it's SiteRight. But we've been had them for probably like 5 years. They're really great, and that's why we have that pretty robust Infusionsoft backend. But there's other companies that do it for cheaper. But really what's important is they're just it all needs to be connected. So back in the day I just had a website that was separate from however I process my payments, that was separate from my social media. All those things need to be linked together so that when somebody fills out a form, a landing page, just a basic landing page, hey, interested in CrossFit, fill this out, we'll call you back. When they fill that out, that needs to go somewhere. And my recommendation is that it doesn't go to somewhere and then just sit there. It needs to actually notify somebody, right?
What's the what time stamp would you put, timeline would you put on that? In other words, at what point is it like we're not going to get that person? Back in the day,
some people are like 3 to 5 minutes, and I'm like, that's if you have
yeah.
a full-time front desk person, and I'm not. That's for cold. That's for cold. Somebody who's like completely cold. If somebody is a warm lead, like they want to buy, like just get back to them like within an hour. But like, so for instance, like when somebody hits our website, that notification goes to 2 people. So one of us is going to get it. One of them goes to me, the other one goes to Cassidy. So one of us is going to get it immediately, and then we have parameters for when do we respond, when do we not respond, what's the time window for when we can text and we can't text, because there's actually laws on that.
Well, let me dive in a quick rabbit hole there. So say you're doing that and you're the owner, Cassidy's not. Mm-hmm. Is there a motivator for him to get back to them faster and get them to join? In other words, do you recommend a commission for somebody like that?
You can do that. We don't currently do that. That's just part of his job, and he gets paid.
Cassidy, you need to ask for a raise if you're listening to this episode.
He gets paid hourly for admin work, right? And we've covered this in coach compensation episode, so go back and listen to that episode. But that's just part of his job as the kind of gym manager, is part of his job. But he knows that if the gym does well, then he does well. He gets rewarded for that. Like that.
That is a hard message to relay to coaches at times.
Yeah,
you have to be a good box owner to do that.
For people to understand what's good for the goose is good for the gander is a pretty broad topic and pretty big concept for people to grasp. But there just needs to be a process. Just like, hey, when this comes in, what happens? So we generally go with a text first, but we call immediately afterwards. So we'll get them both. So it's like text, call, email. We have to check all 3 of those boxes. Some of it is automated, which with regard to the emails, the text and the phone calls is all us. And here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you're trying to do automated text campaigns and all of that shit, people know it's automated. I don't care how much time you put into it. Like, I know that's not you.
I agree with you. But I do think it takes a certain level of intelligence to understand that. For example, you and I get emails regularly of like, hey, we want to contribute to besthouroftheirday.com. Like, what do you charge for a post?
Yeah.
And 1, we don't take them because they're usually shitty. And 2, they're usually fake. But I mean, there are businesses in the CrossFit space built around this automated texting, and they, to be fair, they've gone and made them really good. Like pictures change with names put on them and dates put on them and all of that. I've seen people use like I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but it was like the gym launch, where it's like somebody texts you, they're getting these, people fall for that shit.
People that stick around for your business don't fall for that shit.
Yeah,
People that are cold sales do fall for it. Like those are people that want sales, that like are looking for a quick fix. They're looking for that. And again, you can make it automated, and some of the stuff is getting pretty sexy and it's getting slick. You can put in predetermined responses if there's a word in there, but I'm going to tell you, like, I've played around with it. Like eventually it doesn't match up and the response doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So it's now, and I'm not saying automation is bad. I would say that like you need to have a system in place, and it's not that damn hard. Like no CrossFit gym, let's put it this way, no CrossFit gym is bringing in so many leads, so many customers, potential prospects, that you can't text them yourself.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I do think texting and phone calls should be done by another human being that understands it, because ultimately you're going to get a question about something, and it can't just be like, well, come in, we'll show you. And you should be able to do this within 3 to 4 texts. If you're on the phone with somebody for hours, they're probably wasting your time and not going to join.
They've contacted you, right? So let's kind of like keep it on task, which is like, okay, what should the website do? The website should allow them to reach out to me, to give me information so that I can contact them. So that comes through on my website. It hits me with an email, and I can set up with a text notification, but I'm in my email frequently enough that I don't worry about it. And so is Cassidy. Like one of us is here all day long. The longest it's going to go unseen is 60 minutes. So I'm not that worried about it. We'll call, and we're immediately gonna, there are automated follow-on emails, but all of the phone, all of the text, that's all personal. And then some of the email is personal because I want to say something very specific other than just like, hey, we missed you, we'll follow up again tomorrow. Like I just want that email to be in their inbox. So yeah, I mean, that's what it needs to be in there for. And then you can use your website to host, like if you're not writing blogs, nutrition blogs, coaching blogs, mindset blogs, if you're not putting videos, like you need to have all that stuff housed on your website. Like
Are
Google
blogs still relevant?
I read blogs all the time.
What are 2 blogs you read regularly?
I do read Morning Chalk Up, right? That's actually a pretty robust blog. And then
I guess I don't consider that a blog, but yeah, you're right. It's a blog.
I mean, it is a blog. Yeah. Once you go to their website, it's a blog. Cause their stuff hits me every morning. Somehow they got in there. I don't remember if I opted in, but I went to their website. I had to opt in for an email, right? So on their website, and now they hit me every morning, Morning Chalk Up. And then I go to CrossFit.com almost daily and read through there.
I suppose CrossFit also has a blog. Yeah. So yeah, it's just like back in the day, everyone had a blog. Everyone was creating a blog.
You have to house all of that long form information somewhere, right? So it's understanding that like your website is this long form permanent thing that houses all of your content forever. If you go into CrossFit.com, like that's what it is. It's like really long articles that I can download as PDF, long videos. The email, the social media, those are all chopped up versions repurposed to get interest to then push them to the website. Like you're not reading an article, like a full-blown article in social media for the most part. Like most of it can't be done. Like you're going to get a snippet, at which point I have to divert off of that social media and get to a website of some sort.
So blog is basically where these long form posts are being housed, or even maybe just your workout of the day.
Your workout of the day if you want to go there, but there's so many things that you can do using things. You can use third-party platforms like YouTube, or if you have like Blurberry or iPod or iTunes for a podcast, stuff like that. You can embed all of those things onto your website. So somebody could be watching a YouTube video from my YouTube channel that's hosted in YouTube via my website. So they're still going to YouTube. It's just housed on my website, because they want to watch the video version of a podcast I did, or they want to watch the movement video that we made on rowing or running or the push jerk or something like that. But all that stuff is still there. And I still house I repurpose emails that I write as blog posts on the website.
You bring up a good point right there. I don't want to lose sight of that. Repurposing as a box owner is key.
Every piece of content can be repurposed 4 different ways minimum.
Just take this podcast, for example. We're recording a podcast, which is going to be pushed out audio. We also take the video, put it on our YouTube channel. We also take a snippet and put it on our Instagram, which also pushes to our Facebook page, which, by the way, thank you for following, Vern. I saw you found the best hour of their day Facebook page this week.
Well, it's not done very well, so I was resisting it.
Facebook's kind of like the Facebook pages, etc., are just like you make them because you're supposed to, but I don't think they're as valuable as like Instagram.
I think for fitness at least, they're secondary to Instagram at this point.
Yeah,
you need to have it because Facebook owns Instagram, and all the things that you want to do on Instagram, if you're like
happen through Facebook, right?
Through Facebook,
but yeah, I mean, talk about repurposing. Someone, if you're a box owner, you get an email that says, "Hey, why should I join your box? There's 3 others in the area," and you take the time to write back to them. Repurpose that as a blog post. Repurpose that as a newsletter article about, why your box is so good. Repurpose that as an Instagram post with a picture of your community. Like, don't waste time rewriting. There's going to be some tweaks going on throughout those changes, but for the most part, Fern touched upon it, make sure you're repurposing to save time.
Yeah, because we all think that everybody. So some people read long form on Instagram. Some people want to read the whole blog post. Some people want to listen to it on iTunes. Some people are fine linking out from Facebook to your website to listen to the podcast there because they don't care. They just want to listen to it. It doesn't matter where they listen to it. But the point is all that info. And like, if you want to, you can have, there's like pretty low cost platforms that will, what's the word I'm looking for? That will do a transcript of a podcast. So now I can take a podcast and make it into a long form article.
And we do that for every episode, just so you guys know listening. At Best Hour of Their Day, we use a platform. It's called Sonics. I forget the extension. I think it's like AI, Sonic. But if you Google Sonics and transcription, it's like a monthly fee that we pay, but then, it's like $5 an hour. So every episode that we record, we then transcribe because, people may find it or just SEO keywords, all that stuff happens.
So, yeah, the websites are definitely still a thing. Now, they're not typically used how most companies use them. So most companies are using a website, and this is where they house their Shopify store is embedded into their website. And this is where they're doing this. It's paywall protected, and that's how they're doing their transactions. Gyms don't do that. Gyms are using it essentially to house content, should be using it to house content, to collect data, to project your story to the world or your member's story to the world. So don't overlook the website because people still do look at websites. And again, I mean, if you're talking about Google Analytics, like you're not going to get Google Analytics if you have a shitty website. Like Google's still a thing.
Yeah, well, not to mention if you want to be a CrossFit affiliate, you by law with them have to have a website.
And people are looking for gyms, and people judge your website, like whether they actually peruse through it or not. Like it's like going on a first date, like first impressions are a thing, that I'm either physically attracted to this person immediately or not. But then I have to get into the nitty gritty, be like, do I like talking to them? Like, are they funny? Are they boring? Like, all of those things, like, do they have weird tendencies? But at first, the first thing I look at is like, am I physically attracted to you? Like, it's the same thing on a website. And you're like, oh, this is pleasant. Like, this is cool. It's easy to navigate. Like, I found what I was looking for. Like, number one is like, it should be easy to navigate. It shouldn't have a gabillion tabs to get to what are your hours, potentially what programs you offer, what does it cost? Like, those are the 3 things. Like, if you want to, I've seen people post their prices. I've seen people not post their prices. And I've seen people you have to basically submit information to get access to the pricing page. And it's just a way to capture information.
But even someone as experienced as I am, I moved to Boulder and I Googled CrossFits just to see what they look like, just to see what some of the options were. And, Yeah, you're right. The first impression goes a long way. So clean, simple, make it easy for people to find the information they're looking for, which, like Fern said, is typically hours, cost, location, and then 100% a way for them to contact you and capture their information.
But the big thing is, like, you need a website. You need to be consistently putting content on that website, because this is a whole separate discussion about how are you reaching people via, like, producing content, whether it's a newsletter, whether it's nutrition articles, whether it's coaching articles, whether it's movement tip videos, whether it's a cooking video. Like, all of those things can be housed within your website. And this is where you collect information as a business owner to figure out who are my future clients that have yet to move to the consideration stage, right? And then I'm now potentially looking at buying your product. But if they hit your website once and then never hear from you again, not ideal, And the tough part about this is it's a lot, and this is a moving target as an affiliate owner. But you do need to be competent in it. I happen to live in this world where I'm probably don't even fall in the competent bucket anymore. I'm kind of like this guy who's like basically good enough to get myself in a lot of trouble and mess things up. And then I have to call somebody and they say, you get an A for effort. But this
Yeah,
is a
there.
disaster, So I neither one of us are by any means like website experts, but there are things you need. Like, you must have those things. Like, when I look at a gym and I look at their first impression, it's like, what does the homepage look like? Is the first thing that somebody sees a way to contact you? If it's not, that needs to happen immediately. That'd be the first change I would make. Like, the first thing on the website would be like, contact us, goes to a landing page, fill this out. And this goes to something that I've brought up in other YouTube stuff that I've done, is this is a really easy way to solve this issue of somebody comes in when you're coaching a class. I'm coaching the 5 p.m. class. There's no other coaches around. Somebody comes in, they're interested. And then I would make the fatal flaw of saying, can you come back tomorrow, without collecting any information? Nothing. They're just like, sure, got it. And they never come back. If I have a website that allows me to do this, what I can do is, most people at this point have some sort of CRM that is web-based and involves TVs where people check in. We always have our homepage tab pulled up behind Wodify. So if this person walks in, I'm coaching a class, that page is literally pulled up. I walk over to the computer, literally while I'm still coaching the class. I switch tabs. Hey, can you take 5 seconds to fill this out? They fill it out. And I just say, I'll call you as soon as I'm done with the class. Feel free to stick around and watch the class if you want to. But I've got the information. I'm going to follow up with them immediately. But if I don't have a website to do that, I'm not going to be able to get that information.
Yeah, and let's end it on this. And I like your idea of having another show kind of about outreach. But one thing you just touched upon, to make sure someone listening understands, is some people will show up at your box and you're going to be busy. Have something at your box that allows them to fill out that same form on your site. Typically it's an iPad, but maybe it's, your computer open. Hey, fill this out so I don't forget. Because those are the people that are ready to join right there. They showed up at your space.
Bare minimum, a sign-in sheet.
Yeah, when I was coaching at North Naples, that would happen every so often, and they didn't have something like that. But I would always say, "Hey, what's your name and phone number? Let me grab it for you." But like, capture that information. And I used to get so mad at my coaches back in the day at Albany CrossFit when they'd be like, "Oh, I spoke to somebody." Be like, "Cool, where's their information?" "Oh, I didn't get it." Well, the chances have significantly diminished of us getting them to join right now.
We have a rule, which is nobody leaves the building without getting that information.
Yeah.
Like that, it happened about a week ago, and I was legitimately pissed.
Did Cassidy get fired?
No, it wasn't Cassidy, but one of the other coaches. He's been here long enough to know the things that make me angry. There is nothing that makes me angrier when a coach says, "Hey, this guy named Jason came by and he was interested in the gym." I said, "Cool. Did he fill out the form?" And they're like, "No, he just said he was going to come back tomorrow." Thanks for nothing. Thanks for nothing. You just cost us $2,000 for the year.
Yeah. Or when they'd be like, "Oh, he said he's going to join." I'm like, "Did you collect money?" "No." "Okay, well, he hasn't joined yet."
Yeah, he's not a member. No, he said he's going to sign up later. I'm like, then he's not joining.
Yeah.
Right. Just
and we could have a whole podcast on the fact that no one cares as much as you do as a box owner, but we don't have to dive down that hole right now.
That being said, the website and things like this,
eliminate.
But you have, because they make it easier for people to follow the rules.
Yes, I agree with that.
So,
all right, there we go. Touched upon the subject of websites, and next week we'll come back and we'll talk a little more about outreach and what you can do to get out there and to get more people to find out about you from an organic perspective.
Yeah. Also, we get another movement show coming at you guys next week because people have been hitting us up. They're like, we want a movement. So if there is a movement specific you want us to cover, we got a couple lined up. Hit us up with a movement that you want us to cover, and we would be happy to jam and nerd out on any of the movements within CrossFit.
Yeah, the two best places to hit us up are our email, besthouroftheirday@gmail, or in our DMs at besthouroftheirday. So for Fern, for Ackerman, I think that's it for the week, or I think we're kicking off the week. This goes up on Monday. So hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully you're having a great week, or it goes up on some days. I know we got some great podcasts coming, but all right, Fern, we're out of here.
See you.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Come on, who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. Just a reminder, Fern and I have an amazing new show called Dropping In, premiering on our YouTube channel in early 2020. Be sure to head over to the Best Hour of Their Day YouTube channel now, subscribe so you don't miss any of the episodes. You've probably heard us talking about it, summarizing some of our trip. You can see some highlights up on our Instagram as well at Best Hour of Their Day. But I promise you, you're not going to want to miss out. So subscribe now. Thanks for everything you do. Thanks for letting us be a part of your lives. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Tune in tomorrow for another episode of Best Hour of Their Day.